The debate that you had actually went especially well for you. And one could tell, even by Richard Dawkins' body language, that he had encountered somebody that he hadn't counted on. And he was quite upset by that. So that when John Lennox and Richard Dawkins were invited to a second debate in Oxford some time later, Richard Dawkins came with a different mindset. And just so that we can all feel the heat of what it's like to step into the ring with this man, this is how he began the Oxford debate.
John Lennox is a scientist who believes that Jesus turned water into wine. A scientist who believes that Jesus somehow influenced all those molecules of H2O and introduced proteins and carbohydrates and tannins and alcohol and turned it into wine. He believes that Jesus walked on water. I had been accustomed to debating with sophisticated theologians, and I come across John Lennox, who is a scientist who believes in all those things. That is profoundly unscientific. Not only is it unscientific, it doesn't do justice to the grandeur of the universe.
That is not how you anticipated the debate would start, because you were given the question, has science buried God? And that's what you were faced with. How much of a surprise was that? How shocking was it? How did you react?
Well, it was a considerable shock. And as you can see, it was coming out of left field, and I had to decide very rapidly that because the thing had gone off course, that I would have to be the person that would steer it back on. And that was very difficult to do. It's one thing to participate, it's another thing to moderate, and it's worst of all to have to do both at once. So I had to think, how do you damp this aggression in some kind of way to get a reasonable debate? Because I could tell before we went on stage that he was extremely angry with me. And using ridicule, of course, is a foolish thing to do, but you see, that's what he did. But at least he got the impression I believed something. You'll have noticed that.
Actually, what I'd like to share with the folks here is how you did react. And just before we play the clip, you might want to think of how you might react to something like that. You're in a public stage, the cameras are trained in your direction, and the world is waiting to see how you will react. You could go on the counter-attack, you could become aggressive. Not John Lennox, who disarms people with a smile. You could sit here all night and you probably would not predict this.
If you're going to say that Jesus was born of a virgin, that Jesus walked on water, that he turned water into wine, that is palpably anti-scientific.
I can make it worse for you.
I know you can.
Because Jesus actually claimed to be the Logos that created the whole universe. And if this is the Creator incarnate, making water into wine and so on is really a triviality. The more fundamental thing is the fact that he claimed to be and gave evidence that he was God. When you say it's anti-scientific, I don't think it's anti-scientific at all. Science cannot say that miracles do not occur. It can say they're highly improbable. But nobody is claiming that these things occurred by natural processes. They occurred because God fed his power in.
And he went on making it worse for Richard Dawkins throughout most of the evening.